Mushoko Tensei Light Novel Volume 10. Chapter 1. Backing. I'll pledge my fidelity to Sylphie, I thought as I looked at the red stain left on the bedsheets. Sylphie had given me something precious, and now it was my turn. I would do as she wished of me. This I pledged as I used a knife to cut out the stain left on the fabric. The problem was, Sylphie rarely voiced her feelings. I could tell she wanted to be with me, but she probably wouldn't say it explicitly. Perhaps it had something to do with her being Princess Ariel's bodyguard. Should I talk to the princess about it? Preoccupied with those thoughts, I took the scrap of cloth I'd excised from the bedsheets, put it into a small box I created with earth magic, and placed that inside my altar. Then I put my hands together in prayer. Finally, I felt human again. The day I became whole again was also the day of our once-a-month homeroom session. Walking on air, I parted ways with Sylphie, who was walking slightly bow-legged, and peeked into the classroom. Inside was Zainoba, Julie, Linia, Persona, and finally Cliff. As usual, Nanahoshi was nowhere to be seen. "Good morning, Master." "Good morning, Grandmaster." Zainoba and Julie greeted me as soon as they saw me. It hit me then that Julie was pretty cute. She would be 7 this year, still just a child, but already cute, with her orange hair that curled outward at the ends. I patted her head. She looked at me in surprise, but immediately lowered her gaze and trembled. It seemed she was still afraid of me. It wasn't like I was going to eat her or anything. "Good morning, Zainoba." Julie. As soon as I greeted them in return, Zainoba tilted his head with an audible, "Hmm?" Then he asked, "Master, did something good happen to you?" "What?" So he'd noticed. Zainoba always expressed concern for me, so I wanted to share the good news as soon as possible. However, while it was fine to announce that my impotence had been cured, I'd be screwed if anyone asked me how it happened. I couldn't reveal Sylphie's true identity, after all. I took a seat as I pondered the matter. "Yo, boss." "Morning, Mew." "Morning." "Nom, nom." Linia and Persona took their seats as usual, Linia popping her toned, youthful leg atop her desk, and Persona with her uniform so tight against her curves it threatened to burst as she munched away on a dried scrap of meat. I thought about how I touched the bounties of their chests, slipped off their soaked underwear, and peeked at the promised land that lay beneath. Suddenly, the two of them looked cuter. Mew. Fuck. They covered their noses when I approached. Huh? That was kind of a shock. It was probably that scent they were always talking about, the scent of arousal. I was finally back in business after several long years, so the smell was probably intense. "What should we do?" Persona asked. "Looks like the boss can't control himself anymore." "I thought he wasn't working down there, Mew." "It must be my overwhelming charm. I'm such a sinful girl." Then you be his prey, Persona, Mew." "Leave our village to me, Mew." "No, no. Maybe it's actually you that he's after, Linia." But if you become boss's woman, you could take control of the entire world, you know, Mew. You could have a daily meat buffet, Mew." "I guess I have no choice, then. I have to do it to protect you." Persona steeled herself after this bizarre exchange, and approached me. She batted her eyelashes adorably and hefted her breasts to make them more prominent. "Hee, I want you to love on me, ouch." I gave her a hand chop to the head. What the heck was that hee? Was she trying to make a fool of me? "Just take a seat. I'm not going to touch either one of you." Persona lifted her hands protectively over her head and, with her tail tucked between her legs, took a seat beside me. It was rare for her to come within touching distance of me. Linia, on the other hand, crept to a nearby seat that was just beyond my reach. She was surprisingly guarded. This was the opposite of their usual behavior. "Rude use, what's wrong? You seem different than usual." Cliff cocked his head. Apparently, it was true what they said about how having sex changed men. Though it wasn't like this was my first time. Different in what way? I asked. Almost like, you're overflowing with confidence. That's how it seems, I guess. I glanced at Zainoba, who nodded in agreement. Confidence, huh? Come to think of it, the man-god had said something about reclaiming my confidence as a man. So this was what he was referring to? I didn't really think I felt more confident than usual, though. Well, everyone, thank you for everything you've done for me. I can't get into the details, but my illness has finally been cured. My declaration drew some oohs from the crowd. Zainoba nodded with a look of satisfaction, and Cliff patted me on the shoulder. Lenia and Persona exchanged glances, while Julie just tilted her head in confusion. Well, at any rate, congrats. Indeed. Congratulations, Master. Congrats. Congrats, Mew. They were lined up around me and applauding, for some reason. True, it was a special occasion, but it was still kind of embarrassing. Almost like the last episode of a certain TV anime series. Maybe the order in which they'd congratulated me was the order they were going to die. But if Boss has been cured, that spells trouble, Mew. The chastity of all female students is in peril now, Mew. Don't get too close to him unless you wanna wind up pregnant. Lenia and Persona were making obscene claims. How rude. I'm a gentleman. And I wasn't going to put my hands on anyone other than Sylphie, thank you very much. Once homeroom was over, I headed to the staff room to sign up for supplementary lessons. I wanted to make up for the time I took off for our trip the other day. There was a chill in the air as I entered. Vice Principal Genius stopped me. Mr. Rudius, did something happen? I guess it really did seem like something had changed in me. It was a bit embarrassing, to tell the truth. A problem I've been preoccupied with for 3 years has finally been resolved. I feel relieved now, that's all. Oh really? Glad to hear. He nodded and gave me a strained smile. In that case, are you thinking of leaving the university? Huh? I cocked my head. Thinking about it, he had a point. I'd enrolled here with the goal of curing my impotence. Now that that was done, it might be a good idea to head for Bagarit to reunite with my family. But a lot had happened this past year. I'd been reunited with Zainoba and we'd adopted Julie. I'd become friends with Lenia and Persona, and also formed a bond with Cliff. Then there was Nanahoshi, the girl from my previous world who'd been transported here. I had a feeling our meeting wasn't coincidence. The man-god's real objective might even have been to bring me here so I could meet Nanahoshi, with Sylphie as just the icing on the cake. Of course, Sylphie was what mattered most to me. As long as she stayed here, so would I. A bodyguard to the princess was bound to encounter danger, and while I didn't have much to offer, I wanted to protect her with all I had. Princess Ariel was currently...
Yeah, so that was just kind of like the beginning of Mushoku Tensei Audiobook Volume 10. If you want to hear the rest of it, I found a website online that you can go check out and watch the rest of the audiobook. I'm not affiliated with this website. I'm just kind of like an internet Googler, and I kind of Googled it, and I was able to find Mushoku Tensei Audiobook Volume 10. I don't own the link or anything like that. I just found it on the internet, and I kind of like just downloaded that video, and then I made it only like 9 minutes on my YouTube channel because I think that's still within the fair use. But I don't know who uploaded the original, so just letting you guys know. So if you guys want to watch the rest of this audiobook or listen to the rest of this audiobook, go to the link in the description